Pat Fallon from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations. I just quick.
Yes.
Yes. And I fully. Thank you. It only passed 33 to 26. 5 Democrats voted for it. All 28 Republicans voted for it. But 26 Democrats didn't agree with that statement, which is remarkable. That's why we took great care in crafting it to ensure that it was just pretty much that statement. And it's a simple one. And I'm glad that you both agree because I do as well. And is it also true, Commissioner Sabatino, that when migrants transit through Mexico, that the cartels like to charge, I don't know, for lack of a better term, maybe a transit fee? They're charging these migrants.
We have absolutely seen instances where the migrants are being targeted by criminal organizations or moved by criminal organizations and exploited for money.
And it's a pretty good sum of money, too. It's into the low thousands.
The costs range, but we have seen substantial sums.
And before this administration, had we ever had a month where we saw more than 200,000 encounters with migrants at the border?
I don't have the information to validate that, sir.
And fortunately, we did look it up, and it had never happened before. And yet, we had 10 months in a row under this administration where we had 200,000 illegal border crossings or greater, which leads me to believe that if you have that many, the more folks that are crossing the border illegally and the cartels are charging them a tax or a fee, that's making the cartel stronger than it's ever been. Because from what we've ascertained, it's about 20, hard to say exactly, but their narcotics trafficking alone is about 25 billion a year that what the cartels are making, and an additional 12 billion now with all the illegal migrant taxes that they're hacking on, which is making them stronger, which is making, unfortunately, Mexico a de facto narco state. And so I firmly believe that an open border is an immoral border for the folks that live north of it and the folks that live south of it. So in fiscal year 2022 alone, we had 98 individuals on the terrorist screening database that were apprehended at the southern border. Already in fiscal year 23, we've seen 53 folks that were on the same watch list that have been apprehended. In May of 2022, an Iraqi native was arrested in connection with an alleged plot to assassinate former President George W. Bush. The man was linked to both Rahid Daesh, and he was said to regularly be conducting surveillance on President Bush's home and offices and plan to smuggle terrorists in the United States through the southern border. This is what happens when you have a very porous border. This is one of several examples that highlight the consequence of vulnerabilities that we have at our southern border. In March of 22, the commander of U.S. Northcom stated that before the U.S. Senate that, quote, most of the GRU members in the world are in Mexico at the moment. Those are Russian intelligence personnel, and they keep a close eye on their opportunities for influence in the United States. In FY22, CBP encountered 36,271 illegal aliens from Russia, which is startling. Since the beginning of the new fiscal year, there have been 21,234 Russian illegals encountered by CBP. At the southwest border specifically, there were over 21,000 encounters with Russian nationals last year, and about the same amount through January already. So as you know, most illegals don't carry any documents and records, so it's hard to ascertain who they are. In most cases, officers must rely on whatever the alien tells them to include what country they're from. Finding cracks in that story would require a good interview, which takes time and resources. So for Commissioner Sabatino and Director Salisbury, if a person that has never been in the United States is arrested while entering illegally, what's the likelihood that the records check our officers run will reveal the person's real identity and provide any criminal background from the other nations?
Certainly at ports of entry, employing all the tools that we have. Our records checks, our system verifications are one tool that we use. The highly trained CBP officers, skilled in interview techniques for individuals who are referred to secondary who don't present documents. But there's a variety of different types of documents that people potentially have in their possession that are identity documents but aren't necessarily travel documents. But also for individuals, again, collaboration and information sharing with our foreign partners is also absolutely critical for us to further identify individuals that show up at our ports of entry. So it's a myriad of tools that we use, including our ability to look at technology that they have in media exploitation as well.
Same thing, sir. With our investigations, we are aware and leading and working with the entire U.S. government on organizations that are and willingly trying to bring dangerous individuals into the United States. So our ability to identify them and who they are among the masses of migrants trying to get in is critically important to HSI. We do employ technology and relationships in foreign governments, as well as utilizing biometrics and relationships with the intelligence community to basically try to identify these organizations and stop them from bringing anybody for nefarious purposes in the United States.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you.